The first question I have is an important one tonight. Can anyone tell us what chapter we're on?
Yeah, I was going to ask that.
Are we in Proverbs 15?
15 or 16, was it?
I have my marker at 14, but I'm not sure that it got changed because Linda was manning this Bible. So
It's my fault.
Where was it?
No, I thought I read 14.
yeah,
That was
I think we did.
Remember, it was the woman's point of view, and
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
remember, I thought that was maybe the less. So,
Oh,
Maybe
choice,
15.
right?
Kyle, did you have a guess?
Did you have a guess?
oh. No.
I have to say,
Yes.
between the lectionary study on Tuesday nights and my going through the Apocrypha in Sirach on Sunday morning, I get confused as to what chapter of what we're in. Lectionary, you can tell because they print it out for you. But
Yeah.
I think
and Sirach sounds a lot like Proverbs. Yes.
I think we did 14.
yeah, I think it's 15.
Thanks, we
Because I
did.
remember 1434, but I don't remember 15:1.
I think that's where we are.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're getting ready to start
15.
15.
Okay. I'm sure we can get through.
15,
Well,
15.
then let's do that then. Who would like to begin?
Oh, I'll do it. No one else
Okay.
will. We're doing. Get going.
Mhm.
Okay. Proverbs 15. A soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. The tongue of the wise dispenses knowledge, but the mouths of the fools pour out folly. The eyes of the Lord are in every place, keeping watch on the evil and the good. A gentle tongue is a tree of life, but perverseness in it breaks the spirit. A fool despises a parent's instruction, but the one who heeds admonition is prudent. In the house of the righteous there is much treasure, but trouble befalls the income of the wicked. The lips of the wise spread knowledge, not so much the minds of fools. The sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination to the Lord, but the prayer of the upright is his delight. The way of the wicked is an abomination to the Lord, but he loves the one who pursues righteousness. There is severe discipline for one who forsakes the way, but one who hates a rebuke will die. Sheol and Abaddon lie open before the Lord. How much more human hearts? Scoffers do not like to be rebuked. They will not go to the wise. A glad heart makes a cheerful countenance, but by sorrow of heart the spirit is broken. The mind of one who has understanding seeks knowledge, but the mouths of fools feed on folly. All the days of the poor are hard, but a cheerful heart has a continual feast. Better is a little with the fear of the Lord than great treasure and trouble with it. Better is a little with the fear of the Lord than great treasure and trouble with it. Okay. Better is a dinner of vegetables where love is than fattened ox and hatred with it. Those who are hot-tempered stir up strife, but those who are slow to anger calm contention. The way of the lazy is overgrown with thorns, but the path of the upright is a level highway. A wise child makes a glad father, but the foolish despise their mothers. Folly is a joy to one who has no sense, but a person of understanding walks straight ahead. Without counsel, plans go wrong, but with many advisers, they succeed. To make an apt answer is a joy to anyone. A word in season, how good it is. For the wise, the path of life leads upward in order to avoid Sheol below. The Lord tears down the house of the proud, but maintains the widow's boundaries. Evil plans are an abomination to the Lord, but gracious words are pure. Those who are greedy for unjust gain make trouble for their households, but those who hate bribes will live. The mind of the righteous ponders how to answer, but the mouth of the wicked pours out evil. The Lord is far from the wicked, but he hears the prayer of the righteous. The light of the eyes rejoices the heart, and good news refreshes the body. The ear that heeds wholesome admonition will lodge among the wise. Those who ignore instruction despise themselves, but those who heed admonition gain understanding. The fear of the Lord is instruction in wisdom, and humility goes before honor. Forward.
Thank you, Carl. We're still in the two theme comparison, you know, this is one thing, this is the other thing, right? Back and forth. Jim, one of these verses reminded me of one I think we read in Sirach, verse 22, that says, without counsel, plans go wrong, but with many advisors, they succeed. Didn't we have something like that?
So, yeah, I think
So I made a military comment and you rebuked me and said, that doesn't happen in the Marines.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe that was here, I don't remember.
No, I think it was on Sunday morning. Oh, Linda says she heard it, so maybe it was here.
I think I was on. I think you're right, Linda. It was pretty
Yeah.
funny.
I'm
And
usually wrong.
there's a note that just says, this is a favorite theme of the wise. About with counsel, without counsel, things fall apart, but with many advisors, they
Yeah.
succeed. Anything stick out to anyone there? It's kind of in the same vein of everything we've been reading these since 10, actually.
yeah.
Seems a number of ways of saying the same thing over and over.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, from chapter to chapter, it's
Mhm.
a common theme.
Carl, I have to say, I was reading one of the notes
Uh-huh.
when you read verse 27. Those who are greedy for unjust gain make trouble for their households, but those who hate bribes will live. And I heard those who hate brides. I'm like, so you're going to like people who hate brides? What is that about?
Yeah, I don't know. I have to practice my reading here.
Well, no, but then I looked up and I'm like, oh, bribes. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Well, what is the tree of life in verse 4? A gentle tongue is a tree of life. What does that tree of life mean? I saw the movie and
Well, it says, hang on a second. I mean, I would say the tree of life is what stands in the, or what stood in the Garden of Eden. And then in Revelation is what stands in the new Jerusalem, right? The tree that gives life to the world, and its leaves are for the healing of the nations. But
oh.
in the garden, it would have been the tree of good bee of life in some cases. But there is a note here in my Bible that says, see another chapter's note. So let me see what that says. We go back to chapter 13, verse 12. It says, hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a desire fulfilled is a tree of life. And that says, the tree of life is a symbol of the fullness of life, such as humans feel when a desire is fulfilled. So in this context, that's what it's talking about.
My notes refer back to chapter 3, verse 18, and in the note, well, the verse reads, "She is a tree of life to those who lay hold of her. Those who hold her fast are called happy." And the notes on that say, "Tree of life, a mythological image in the ancient Near East. Typically, the tree is in bloom with animals or people gathered around it to revere, touch, and keep from it. In the Hebrew Bible, the tree of life appears only in Proverbs and Genesis in the Garden of Eden." Oh, one more. Proverbs identifies the tree of life Proverbs identifies the tree with other sources of well-being, including righteous speech, a fulfilled desire, and a gentle tongue.
Yeah. And this was what the gentle tongue is what we just read.
Yeah.
Whereas a gentle tongue is a helpful thing, is a good thing, or a quick tongue is not necessarily good. All right. Any other thoughts on that before we move on?
Yes, I'm going to call our son pretty soon and refer to verse 5.
What is it?
Right.
He needs to know about this.
If he hasn't figured it out yet, now he needs to know now.
Yeah.
All right. Who's up for 16?
I can do that.
All right.
"The plans of the mind belong to mortals, but the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. All one's ways may be pure in one's own eyes, but the Lord weighs the spirit. Commit your work to the Lord, and your plans will be established. The Lord has made everything for its purpose, even the wicked for the day of trouble. All those who are arrogant are an abomination to the Lord. Be assured they will not go unpunished. By loyalty and faithfulness, iniquity is atoned for, and by the fear of the Lord one avoids evil. When the ways of people please the Lord, he causes even their enemies to be at peace with them. Better is a little with righteousness than large income with injustice. The human mind plans the way, but the Lord directs the steps. Inspired decisions are on the lips of the king. His mouth does not sin in judgment. Honest balances and scales are the Lord's. All the weights in the bag are his work. It is an abomination to choose to do evil, for the throne is established by righteousness. Righteous lips are the delight of a king, and he loves those who speak what is right. A king's wrath is a messenger of death, and whoever is wise will appease it. In the light of a king's face there is life, and his favor is like the clouds that bring the spring rain. How much better to get wisdom than gold? To get understanding is to be chosen rather than silver. The highway of the upright avoids evil. Those who guard their way preserve their lives. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. It is better to be a lowly spirit among the poor than to divide the spoil with the proud. Those who are attentive to a matter will prosper, and happy are those who trust in the Lord. The wise of heart is called perceptive, and pleasant speech increases persuasiveness. Wisdom is a fountain of life to one who has it, but folly is the punishment of fools. The mind of the wise makes their speech judicious and adds persuasiveness to their lips. Pleasant words are like a honeycomb, sweetness to the soul and health to the body. Sometimes there is a way that seems to be right, but in the end it is the way to death. The appetite of workers works for them, their hunger urges them on. Scoundrels concoct evil, and their speech is like a scorching fire. A perverse person spreads strife, and a whisperer separates close friends. The violent entice their neighbors and lead them in a way that is not good. One who winks the eyes plans perverse things. One who compresses the lips brings evil to pass. Gray hair is a crown of glory. It is gained in a righteous life. One who is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and one whose temper is controlled than one who captures a city. The lot is cast into the lap, but the decision is the Lord's alone.
I have a crown of glory.
Mine's a hoary head.
Mhm.
That's great.
No, the one who's writing can say whatever they want, can't they? And in this, yeah, there's a lot of repeat here, isn't there, from
Yeah.
stuff we've already heard. And, you know, it's funny, I'm just thinking, listening to you, you know, when we hear something read from Proverbs as a lesson on a Sunday or something like that, you know, we hear it and we might like it and we say, oh, that's nice, I ought to read Proverbs. And then now that we're reading it, it's like, all right, does it have any other cadence? Does it have any other good? It's just sort of saying the same stuff over and over and over.
Maybe that one reading will say it all.
And now, certainly, remember we said that 1 through 9 is a little different style. And we know that from 10 through, is it 19 that, I have to look and see, is going to give us the same kind of thing over and over and over.
Yeah.
Let me see here if it says. Well, I'm not seeing where it says what 10 on does. It said gray hair. Does it also say bad eyes?
Or just winking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a wink,
Well, yeah, there is that.
that bad wink.
Makes me feel guilty about teaching my grandson to wink.
Well, here's something interesting. I don't know if I read this when we started this out, and you're going, well, Andy, that might have been nice if you had read that when we did start it out. But at least in this is the 4th edition of the New Oxford Annotated Bible, and it has what it calls a guide to reading. And this is short. It says, despite its heterogeneous nature, the book of Proverbs can be read from beginning to end. The beginning and end of the book are formed by representations of 2 symbolically related women, personified wisdom in chapters 1 through 9, and the woman of substance in chapter 31, starting at verse 10, who is a human embodiment of woman wisdom. Thus, the introductory chapters invite the reader to acquire wisdom. The body of the book provides sustained training in the perceptiveness and values needed to become wise, and the conclusion portrays the fulfillment of living in wisdom's household. It is equally appropriate, however, to read each of the different collections independently, appreciating their distinct literary forms and tropes. Indeed, since there seldom seems to be an intentional order to the proverbial sayings, readers may also ponder them individually, thinking about life contexts to which they are applicable. The book of Proverbs invites multiple forms of reading. And I think we've said that, verses that jump out at us and how it might be applicable to our lives today or how we think today. I thought it was nice last week when Day had, an older family Bible that had sections marked and underlined that obviously spoke to a different generation then,
Yeah.
which is why family Bibles are so neat because of that, all the stuff written in them. I don't know that families write in their Bibles so much anymore, but I do write in mine. And sometimes I read what I wrote and I don't know why I wrote it. So
That's the problem with notes.
Kyle, any words of wisdom from your rabbi in any of these?
Is there anything that stood out for me?
These are stuff that's probably already been talked about.
Yeah. And a lot of it, I mean, even the notes on the verses are getting to be a little redundant, which I find kind of interesting as well.
So here's a comment on gray hair.
Yeah.
It says the gray hair of the elderly is related to righteous living, which was thought to produce longevity. But what happens when someone goes gray in their 20s? I mean, is that, did they peak too soon?
Yeah.
Must have been unusually righteous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But can they then say, I've done my righteous time. See, I have my crown of glory. Now I can do whatever I want.
That's what I thought. Can't you tell? I have an interesting note. This is a study Bible, and it says, what could be wrong with just talking as long as you don't actually lie? Proverbs sees plenty of danger. Words are dynamite. They can destroy people. They should be carefully weighed before they are spoken. Even truthful words can damage, yet they can also save a friend from going wrong. Proverbs speaks strongly about both the danger of gossip and the good done when someone justly rebukes her friend.
Hey.
Death and life are in the power of the tongue.
Ah. That's true.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to look ahead here. Looks like we're going to continue in this style
Formula.
through 20, maybe 21 changes a little bit. So, well, let's go on then. So 17, who's up for 17?
I'll take it.
They'll take it.
Okay.
I've got a little different version of the.
You have the RSV, right?
Right.
Yeah. Never think.
Better is a dry morsel with quiet than a house full of feasting with strife. A slave who deals wisely will rule over a son who acts shamefully, and will share the inheritance as one of the brothers. The crucible for silver and the furnace is for gold. Let's see. And the Lord tries hearts. An evildoer listens to wicked lips, and a liar gives heed to a mischievous tongue. He who mocks the poor insults his maker, and he who is glad at calamity will not go unpunished. Grandchildren are the crown of the aged, and the glory of sons is their fathers. Fine speech is not becoming to a fool, still less is false speech to a prince. A bribe is like a magic stone in the eyes of him who gives it. Whenever he turns, he prospers. He who forgives an offense seeks love, but he who repeats a matter alienates a friend. A rebuke goes deeper into a man of understanding than 100 blows into a fool. An evil man seeks only rebellion, and a cruel messenger will be sent against him. Let a man meet a she-bear robbed of her cubs rather than a fool in his folly. If a man returns evil for good, evil will not depart from his house. The beginning of strife is letting out water, so quit before the quarrel breaks out. He who justifies the wicked and he who condemns the righteous are both alike an abomination to the Lord. Why should a fool have a price in his hand to buy wisdom when he has no mind? A friend loves at all time, and a brother is born for adversity. A man without sense gives a pledge and becomes surety in the presence of his neighbor. He who loves transgression loves strife. He who makes his door high seeks destruction. A man of crooked mind does not prosper, and one with a perverse tongue falls into calamity. A stupid son is a grief to a father, and a father of a fool has no joy. A cheerful heart is a good medicine, but a downcast spirit dries up the bones. A wicked man accepts a bribe from the bosom to pervert the ways of justice. A man of understanding sets his face towards wisdom, but the eyes of a fool are on the ends of the earth. A foolish son is a grief to his father and bitterness to her who bore him. To impose a fine on a righteous man is not good. To flog noble men is wrong. He who restrains his words has knowledge, and he who has a cool spirit is a man of understanding. Even a fool who keeps silent is considered wise. When he closes his lips, he is deemed intelligent. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, nobody can say anything.
I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll open my mouth then and look the fool. Where is it? It helps if I'm in the right place. There it is. Okay. Verse 8 kind of threw me a little bit, the way that it's written. That fine speech is not becoming, no, I'm sorry. A bribe is like a magic stone in the eyes of those who give it. Wherever they turn, they prosper.
Because the Lord hates the bribes in the last chapter.
Right.
Right. And
The
so,
bribes.
Yeah.
but the way that it's translated in my Jewish commentary is a bribe is like a precious jewel in the eyes of the briber, but the one who spurns gifts will prosper. And I just wondered if any of your notes or anything like that had anything on the translation difference.
Yeah, mine says an unusual observation that a bribe works. In the eyes of, however, indicates self-delusion. Gifts to curry favor were acceptable up to a point, but elsewhere bribery is condemned.
Hmm.
I have a similar note, yeah.
So,
I'm
go ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead.
There's a sentence here, it's kind of profound. Proverbs is utterly realistic about the hard facts of life. One is that bribery works. But it says, but it's the same as yours, Andy. It says, but later, a few verses later, Proverbs condemns bribery.
Chapter 16 just told us gray hair is a crown of glory, and now we're told grandchildren are the crown of the aged. But I guess you can have both.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed today I was looking a lot grayer, so maybe my crown is starting to come in. My beard is definitely gray. I can hide that, but my hair has not been lots of gray, but it's starting to get more.
So reading the commentary from Rashi on that same, sorry, I'm still on that. Let me go back. Sorry, I'm looking at different translations here, trying to see if any of them make any more sense than the others. But the bribe is like a magic stone. Rashi's comment is when someone comes before God and pacifies him with words and repents, he is like a precious stone in his eyes. He will prosper in all that he asks for from God. He will succeed.
Mm. Tell them what they want to hear, in other words.
Except for it's from God.
Well,
So,
yeah, but I mean, as a bribe to other people.
yeah.
There was another one that stood out to me, Bill, and maybe it was because of the RSV translation, but now I can't remember what it was. Oh, yeah, at the end, even fools who keep silent are considered wise. When they close their lips, they are deemed intelligent. What's the old saying that you can stay quiet and seem intelligent, or open your mouth and remove all doubt? Or something like that.
Yeah,
I guess it's kind of a modification of this.
I used to keep that in my office. I forgot it often, but I tried to remember that.
I have a paraphrased Bible here, which is a little more modern language. And it says, the man of few words and settled mind is wise. Therefore, even a fool is thought to be wise when he is silent. It pays him to keep his mouth shut.
Well, any other thing stand out to anyone there?
No, it's okay. I can see
All right, who'd like to take 18 as we stay in this?
that. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Oh, okay.
Oh, did you want to go for it?
Well, I'll read it, but I'm going to read it from Bill's Bible, which is pretty modern, the Living Bible.
Okay.
The paraphrase one? Okay.
You'll have trouble following.
It's a little harder for you guys to follow. So is it number 18?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. The selfish man quarrels against every sound principle of conduct by demanding his own way. A rebel doesn't care about the facts. All he wants to do is yell. Sin brings disgrace. A wise man's words express deep streams of thought. It is wrong for a judge to favor the wicked and condemn the innocent. A fool gets into constant fights. His mouth is his undoing. His words endanger him. What dainty morsels rumors are, they are eaten with great relish. A lazy man is brother to the saboteur. The Lord is a strong fortress. The godly run to him, and they are safe. A rich man thinks of his wealth as an impregnable defense, a high wall of safety. What a dreamer. Pride ends in destruction. Humility ends in honor. What a shame, yes, how stupid, to decide before knowing the facts. That's typical. A man's courage can sustain his broken body, but when courage dies, what hope is left? The intelligent man is always open to new ideas. In fact, he looks for them. A bribe does wonders. It will bring you before men of importance. Any story sounds true until someone tells the other side and sets the record straight. A coin toss ends arguments and settles disputes between powerful opponents. It is harder to win back the friendship of an offended brother than to capture a fortified city. His anger shuts you out like iron bars. Ability to give wise advice satisfies like a good meal. Those who love to talk will suffer the consequences. Men have died for saying the wrong thing. The man who finds a wife finds a good thing. She is a blessing to him from the Lord. The poor man pleads, and the rich man answers with insults. There are quote unquote friends who pretend to be friends, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. There are a lot of exclamation points in these sentences. That was interesting.
Quite a bit different than
Quite different. Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's just it takes the same concepts and just says it a different way, right?
Yeah, modern language. Yeah.
But my ear hears something different back on verse 16. They talk about a bribe versus a gift.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
too. Mhm.
Well, that kind of goes along with what Kyle was talking about in 17, right? Because the explanation of it talked about gifts to curry favor were acceptable up to a point. So here it's, that's a bribe or a gift that opens doors. It is kind of a similar thing, or I take it to be that.
I don't know. I think that depends on where you are. I mean, when I visit some people, I like to go bearing a gift. Do something nice for them just because they're my friend. I guess it depends on what your intent is.
Well, yeah, but you're not giving a gift to gain something in return. You're giving a gift as a thank you for hospitality, right?
Yeah, a friendship thing. Yeah.
Yeah. This is more on the line of, hey, if I do this, then they'll let me have access to the person that I want, who will then get me what I want, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? Which can get a little squirrely after a while.
Yes.
Get you in trouble. Now I can't see anybody.
That's the problem I was having. So going back to that, on verse 16, Rashi does say something slightly different. And it's that the one who gives charity will have a greater share in the world to come. During his lifetime, great people will call him eminent. On that same verse.
Yeah, that's taking it a whole different spin on it.
Yeah.
Oh, me too.
I don't disagree with what he says there. I feel like in the context of where this is, that's not the way that this was necessarily intended, but I do agree with what he says. But that's just my thought on it.
I just like verse 15. The heart of the discerning acquires knowledge. The ears of the wise seek it out. I think that's very, very pleasant.
So, yeah, and so in that sense, then to then add 16 to that would be more on the side of a goodness.
Yeah.
There doesn't seem to be a condemning line there to go against it, because it moves right on to the person stating a case. So maybe there is more truth to that. It fitting into that meaning being inferred from this.
Verse 17 really speaks to me because of my job. I adjudicate disputes, and so more often than not, I'll hear that first side, and you're just thinking, "Oh my goodness!" Well, and then you hear the other side, and it's like, "Oh yeah, there's the other side of the story."
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So
that makes sense too.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now what do I do? But it's important. Yeah.
I guess we should all choose our words carefully and think before we speak.
Yeah.
Well, that's just kind of the overarching theme, isn't it?
Mhm.
And sometimes we can catch ourselves and say, I'm not going to respond to that because I don't know if I can say something nice right now or good right now. Or we just don't say anything. But then if you don't say anything, people might think you're not concerned or you're not involved, or right?
Engaged in them. Yeah.
Silence is complicit too, right? Yeah, I mean, then you say, well, go read Proverbs. There's no way to win.
Yeah.
They're like, well, there is, just don't say something stupid.
Yeah, and it all seems really to point to the evil tongue or the evil speech.
Right.
Which is why you're not supposed to like talk about others and why you have to be careful with what you say. Yeah.
But it does say, was it back in 17 that, don't speak evil, but speaking the truth can hurt as well.
Yes.
But will maybe keep someone from doing something they shouldn't do. All right. Who'd like to take 19?
I will.
All right.
Better the poor walking in integrity than one perverse of speech who is a fool. Desire without knowledge is not good, and one who moves too hurriedly misses the way. One's own folly leads to ruin, yet the heart rages against the Lord. Wealth brings many friends, but the poor are left friendless. A false witness will not go unpunished, and a liar will not escape. Many seek the favor of the generous, and everyone is a friend to a giver of gifts. If the poor are hated even by their kin, how much more are they shunned by their friends? When they call after them, they are not there. To get wisdom is to love oneself. To keep understanding is to prosper. A false witness will not go unpunished, and the liar will perish. It is not fitting for a fool to live in luxury, much less for a slave to rule over princes. Those with good sense are slow to anger, and it is their glory to overlook an offense. A king's anger is like the growling of a lion, but his favor is like dew on the ground. A stupid child is ruin to a father, and a wife's quarreling is a continual dripping of rain. House and wealth are inherited from parents, but a prudent wife is from the Lord. Laziness brings on deep sleep, and an idle person will suffer hunger. Those who keep the commandment will live. Those who are heedless of their ways will die. Whoever is kind to the poor lends to the Lord and will be repaid in full. Discipline your child while there is hope. Do not set your heart on their destruction. A violent-tempered person will pay the penalty. If you effect a rescue, you will only have to do it again. Listen to advice and instruction that you may gain wisdom for the future. The human mind may devise many plans, but it is the purpose of the Lord that will be established. What is desirable in a person is loyalty, and it is better to be poor than a liar. The fear of the Lord is life indeed. Filled with it, one rests secure and suffers no harm. The lazy person buries a hand in the dish and won't even bring it back to the mouth. Strike a scoffer, and the simple will learn prudence. Reprove the intelligent, and they will gain knowledge. Those who do violence to their father and chase away their mother are children who cause shame and bring reproach. Cease straying, my child, from the words of knowledge in order that you may hear instruction. A worthless witness mocks at justice, and the mouth of the wicked devours iniquity. Condemnation is ready for scoffers, and flogging for the backs of fools.
Wow.
It's personal. How come the woman's always arguing?
Well,
Well,
That's a
I mean,
good question.
thank you.
well, sons and wives are a problem.
Sons and wives are a problem in this verse.
And apparently so are brides.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's a lot of reference to the poor throughout the whole thing. I mean, and
Bill, what does yours say at 13?
19.
Verse 13,
Yeah.
it says, a lazy man sleeps soundly and goes hungry. No, I'm sorry, that's 15.
But eyes are,
A short-tempered man must bear his own penalty. You can't do much to help him. If you try once, you must try a dozen times.
No,
and another exclamation point there.
That's verse 13.
that's 19.
It was
I'm
nice.
sorry.
Still, what's wrong? That's that wife argument. with him.
Yeah,
Dripping of the rain.
it's her fault.
And your sons.
Verse 13, a rebellious son is a calamity to his father, and a nagging wife a noise like constant dripping. There we go. That's why I was having trouble.
You didn't like it.
So a nagging wife as opposed to a wife's quarreling. I guess that could be thought of in the same way. I have a note. I have a note here that says 13 and 14. It says a male perspective on domestic unhappiness contrasted with the advantages of a prudent wife.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, our perspectives are different.
Yeah. Quarreling wife, you just can't turn her off, I guess.
Yeah.
Keeps dripping rain.
Just horrible. This is just horrible.
You like this chapter the best?
We need to have separate, this needs to be either a female or a male class. I think we need it
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
separately.
Well, you could say the same for it needs to be a lazy person's or a not
Right.
lazy person's class, or it needs to be a,
A rich person or a poor person.
Yeah.
Just so many opposites.
Probably wouldn't get many volunteers for the lazy person.
yeah, a lot of the, again, the wealth and poor in this one, right?
Mhm.
The,
Yeah.
the verse about the slave
Yeah.
struck out to me.
Which one is that, Carl? Which?
10, verse 10.
10.
Yeah. It sort of, you get the point, but I don't know, in today's world,
Oh, that wouldn't go over well, would it?
no.
And yet, if you look at Genesis, I mean, that's kind of what happens. You know, Joseph rules over princes, right? Who was once enslaved.
Yeah.
Not a
Yes,
lot of
yes.
mention of equality there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of more speech on anger.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the futility of a rescue. Yeah, that's interesting.
My note on 10 says a portrait of the world turned upside down.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Mhm.
Which is what Jesus loves to do, right? Is to turn things on end.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've got time to get through 20 if someone would like to read 20.
I can do that.
Okay.
Wine is a mocker, strong drink a brawler, and whoever is led astray by it is not wise. The dread anger of a king is like the growling of a lion. Anyone who provokes him to anger forfeits life itself. It is honorable to refrain from strife, but every fool is quick to quarrel. The lazy person does not plow in season. Harvest comes and there is nothing to be found. The purposes in the human mind are like deep water, but the intelligent will draw them out. Many proclaim themselves loyal, but who can find one worthy of trust? The righteous walk in integrity. Happy are the children who follow them. A king who sits on the throne of judgment winnows all evil with his eyes. Who can say, I have made my heart clean, I am pure from my sin? Diverse weights and diverse measures are both like an abomination to the Lord. Even children make themselves known by their acts, by whether what they do is pure and right. The hearing ear and the seeing eye, the Lord has made them both. Do not love sleep, or else you will come to poverty. Open your eyes, and you will have plenty of bread. Bad, bad, says the buyer, then goes away and boasts. There is gold and abundance of costly stones, but the lips informed by knowledge are a precious jewel. Take the garment of one who has given surety for a stranger. Seize the pledge given as surely as surety for foreigners. Bread gained by deceit is sweet, but afterward the mouth will be full of gravel. Plans are established by taking advice. Wage war by following wise guidance. A gospel reveals secrets. Therefore, do not associate with a babbler. If you curse father or mother, your lamp will go out in utter darkness. An estate quickly acquired in the beginning will not be blessed in the end. Do not say, I will repay evil. Wait for the Lord, and he will help you. Differing weights are an abomination to the Lord, and false scales are not good. All our steps are ordered by the Lord. How then can we understand our own ways? It is a snare for one to say rashly, it is holy, and begin to reflect only after making a vow. A wise king winnows the wicked and drives the wheel over them. The human spirit is the lamp of the Lord, searching every inmost part. Loyalty and faithfulness preserve the king, and his throne is upheld by righteousness. The glory of youths is their strength, but the beauty of the aged is their gray hair. Blows that wound, cleanse away evil. Beatings make clean the innermost parts. Blows that wound. Okay, blows that wound,
Interesting.
cleanse away evil. Yeah.
What is that, 30?
30, what's it say, Bill?
What are you on?
30. 20, 30. Be in here. This is punish.
Punishment that hurts chases evil from the heart.
Yeah, my note says corporal punishment as a component of pedagogical discipline.
My father agrees with that statement.
That was prevalent in the household.
Yeah, well, no, because it chases evil from my heart.
Yeah.
Well, what stands out there?
In verse 29, I'm reminded of that phrase, but there's no fool like an old fool.
Yeah.
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 That's a good one, Carl.
Yeah.
That was good. 29. The glory of the young is his strength. Good.
Well, so I think that kind of ends a section in a way, because 21 seems to start, it's not quite the back and forth. Well, maybe it does a little bit of that.
That's right. But it's really,
But
yeah. Done well. 12.
all right, at this point though, I'm going to have to ask that you read the end of Proverbs on your own, as tonight will be our last night before we take a break.
Now that we know not to be lazy, right?
Right, don't be lazy, but we will come back again, so stay tuned for when we will come back with a new class for Wednesday. But I've enjoyed going through wisdom with you and plowing through Proverbs. I'm sorry we didn't make it all the way through. I think there's about 10, 11 chapters left. So
Yeah.
it's been a lot of fun.